Hello, everybody, and welcome to the World Through Electrospecs podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. Now, we haven't recorded in quite a while, and we ran into a little bit of an issue. I'll throw Pete under the bus here and go ahead and let you know that he forgot to click the record button on the audio recording device that we were using. We had some nice mics set up, and we didn't get any audio at all from those mics. So this episode's audio is entirely from the crappy little microphone that was in the webcam that we were using for the video version of this podcast. And the audio doesn't sound fantastic, but you know, we're rusty. We're next month's episode in February, we're definitely gonna have things a lot cleaner and better audio, so definitely bear with us here. We still felt like it was a really good episode that had really good content and a really good conversation. So we were going to re-record, but we just thought, nah, screw it. Let's just push this one out and focus on doing better next month in February. So please enjoy this episode for January of 2020 of the World Through Electrospecs podcast, Season 2, Episode 1.
The World Through Electrospecs. Press start to play. Start. TWTE begin.
It says we've been recording for 10 seconds.
That's too long already.
Too long of an episode. All right, thanks everybody for listening.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, for a 15-second episode.
15 seconds.
Well, now we're on 21 seconds. So.
Oh, we're going to have to break this down to part 1, part 2.
People don't have that much of attention span on the internet
Part
anymore. Part 3. Part 3 is only like 2 seconds long.
Yeah.
Tell
the people to tune into part 4.
Now it's part 4.
No. Part 4?
Parkour.
Parkour. Have you ever parkoured?
No.
No, me neither.
Maybe
I used to before it was called parkour.
What determines what parkour is, though?
Exactly, that's my point.
Is it just jumping off of stuff?
Or over and rolling. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to jump over like those 4-foot fences in people's yards.
Well, I mean, like people, when you're a kid, when people are kids, kids, bleh.
They do.
Kids jump over everything.
Jump off things, on things,
right.
Over things, yeah.
Those round things in the parking lot at Target?
So we've always been parkour. Hardcore parkour.
Hardcore, okay, so... whatever. Hello and welcome to the World Through Electrospecs. I'm already screwed up. Yeah. Hello and welcome to the World Through Electrospecs podcast. My name is Caleb.
And my name's Pete.
And yeah, this is the show now.
This is a thing.
This is a thing.
It's always been a thing.
Yeah, well, not always. Yeah, so I'm just going to run that
in increments.
Yeah, I'll pull up the outline here so we don't forget things. So this episode is going to be released on January 25th, 2020.
2020.
So all the episodes are going to be pre-recorded, but they're all going to be released on. I'm already going off the. I'm going outside of the outline. Yeah, I'm not even following.
Well, we're supposed to welcome to the show.
I already did that. I said hello and welcome.
Awesome.
Okay.
Individual intros.
We already did that.
Oh, okay.
I'm Caleb, you're Pete.
That's right.
Yep.
Content.
Content of the episode. Yeah.
What's the content?
Okay, so this episode.
What's the concept?
We're gonna talk a little bit about a very brief backstory of the World Through Electrospecs.
So
we're gonna talk about what it is, the purpose of the show, blah blah blah. We're gonna have a brief discussion section where we're gonna talk about where we're going to talk about the Rise of Skywalker. We're going to talk about what we've been up to since the last episode of the show, what our plans are for the rest of the year for this show.
Oh, sure.
What?
I was like, plans for the rest of the year. Oh my god. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have plans.
All right, yeah.
And then we're going to end the show. So
cool.
So yeah, that's kind of a brief... as you can tell, I'm trying to be more structured with the show, even though we're already screwing it up.
Yeah. Well, it's structured to be an unstructured approach to
controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos. So
Chaos with an outline.
In parentheses.
Yeah.
Chaos in parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
A brief backstory then.
Yeah, so we don't need to go into the whole story. The reason I said brief is because we don't need to go into the whole story of what the World Through Electrospecs is, where it came from. Because we've done that in previous episodes, and even though that's considered Oh, I guess I should have mentioned, this is considered episode 1 of season 2. So we're doing kind of a soft reboot, per se, of the show. So basically, the World Through Electrospecs, it's been a podcast that you and I have done for a long time, and before it was you and me, it was me and Tim and I, and before it was Tim and I, it originally started when I was back in high school with my friend Zachariah. And that's where the word Electrospecs came from, and we did an episode a while ago in what's now going to be considered season 1, or the troublesome years, where we discussed, and I told the story of where the word Electrospecs came from.
Right.
What it means to us now, though, the concept of Electrospecs is basically like glasses that you and I see through to see the world. And that's where the World Through Electrospecs comes from, the name World Through Electrospecs. It's basically, we are nerds living in what's now become a more like nerd-driven society. And being a nerd, being a geek isn't as like...
Is that unlike a material girl living in a material world?
So the other day I was making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past. Anyways, totally different song. I don't know why I jumped into that.
I don't know either.
Whatever.
Which is the good part about the World Through Electrospecs is not
that I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
You are, and I'm a material girl in a material world.
Oh.
Does this mean we fight?
Yeah.
Would Barbie and Cyndi Lauper...
And in this corner, we have Barbie girl.
Yeah.
In the Barbie corner, I don't know.
Which is the beauty of the World Through Electrospecs as us being comical characters. I don't think that's going to change.
Are we comical?
We think we're comical.
We're not that funny. We laugh at each other about.
Yeah. But
you're trying to bring it back onto the show, and I keep...
Well,
anyways.
I just don't... I don't know.
The whole concept of the show is we want to cover we have thoughts and kind of generic ideas that we want to cover each, or topics that we want to cover each episode, but we don't have any. It's not like a show. Like we kind of
theme.
We tried to corner the show before, and I did enjoy those episodes we did, like with Ben, where we were like, for a while we were like, okay, the World Through Electrospecs is a show where we analyze movie trailers.
Right, we did that for
a while. Quite a few episodes.
6, 7, 8 episodes.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that, but cornering us into that specific theme was really, I don't know, it felt like we couldn't talk anymore. Mm-hmm. It felt like we were doing like research projects, and that's fine.
Right.
But I liked what we were doing before, way back, where it was more just kind of a relaxed conversation, sometimes with a guest, and we'll get into that in a bit. Because we do plan on having guests now in season 2 in this kind of reboot of the show. But what?
No, nothing. I'm listening.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For once, I'm actually listening to the host of the show.
Sorry, what was that?
Are you not? See, the host doesn't have to listen to the co-host.
What was that?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's still the same personalities, which you either like the personalities or not.
Yeah, speaking of my personality, I choked up there for a second. Yeah, I had a thought process I was going down, and then I just like blanked there for a second.
And we're out.
And I totally tried to play it off as you had something to say, but it didn't go so well.
Which is still the fun aspect of the World Through Electrospecs. But following what Caleb, what you're saying is, we want to talk about those things that are new and wonky and weird without having a theme to follow. We're not specifically talking about microelectronics or scientific molecular structure,
right?
Or whatever specificities. It's a word that I just made up.
I wonder if cracking my neck gets picked up on the microphone.
Oh, probably.
Sorry about
that. So yeah, we're still talking about the fun things that bring people out to Comic-Cons, that make people go to the movie theater, that make people run into the comic book store, that make people run into Books A Million and buy the latest, kitschy kind of fun stuff, it's not that we want to be on the pulse of the trends, but we want to be on the pulse of the nerds. How's that?
We're nerds, and we appreciate, like, we're proud of being nerds, and like I said, we live in a culture these days where being a nerd is less weird. And we're not, like, it's more accepted, I guess.
It's more the norm.
It's more the norm, yeah.
And I think the thing that changed with the word, being a nerd is it's not any one specific kind of categorical column.
Yeah. You can be. I mean, it kind of started becoming more of a generic term for just being interested in something.
Right.
Like you could
things people are into.
Yeah. Somebody who's into cars, a mechanic, that very easily years ago could also be lumped into the type of person who would bully somebody who's considered a nerd. But now it's okay to call somebody a car nerd. I nerd out about cars. It's in the word nerd. Nerd
is the word.
The nerd. Have you heard the word?
Right. So the idea is that
the nerd is the word, but
the world is just full of nerds.
Yeah, we're all full of nerds.
Yeah.
But like
full of nerds.
Wait a minute. Okay. We're all full of nerds.
Back to this outline.
I do like nerds. Nerds is a good candy. Maybe that's the official. Maybe that's official candy of the show. Nerds.
We should ask first.
Sponsored.
This is not sponsored
by nerds.
By nerds.
Yeah. Or who's a company who owns nerds?
I don't know. I'll look it up quick.
No, don't look it up.
Oh.
Leave that up to the listeners. If you're a listener and if you're listening to the show or watching the show, tell us, figure it out. Tell us, or if you know, or if you Google it.
Phone in on the line that we don't have.
Well, no, leave a comment.
There you go.
On whatever medium you're listening or watching this on.
Okay.
And if you're like, if you I don't know. If you Google it because you're a dirty cheater, whatever, that's fine.
That's it. Okay, so I'm a cheater now. Okay.
No.
So is that the format of the show? Is that kind of the?
Well, 4x4. Okay, you're reading the outline. Look at you.
Yeah. I'm following the outline, people. That's why we made it.
To give a just kind of like nutshell that, I guess. Mm-hmm. The purpose of the show is to provide entertainment to people who are interested in nerd culture and what's going on, but want to look at the world through like nerd or geek tinted glasses. People who also look at the world like that, like we do. So there's going to be a wide range of content and guests. The plan is getting a little bit into the formatting of the show. The plan is to record one episode per month, with really not a huge time limit. We want to keep each episode under an hour because that gets kind of daunting. But we're not necessarily shooting for 15-minute episodes or 30-minute episodes or whatever. Right. Now, this first episode we're recording is just you and me because we're just talking. But every other episode this year, maybe not with the December episode at the end of the year, we want to have a guest on for every episode, with the idea being the guests add some entertainment value to the show. We don't plan on the guests being just kind of like Joe Schmo, whoever we bring on. We plan on the guests having some sort of interest. So like next month, I'm planning on bringing on Tim O'Sullivan, who's a guy that I've met through my business when I was working with CME-CNC.
Right, military veteran. He'll introduce himself on the show when he comes on. But he has done a lot of 3D printing, a lot of charity work, built a lot of costumes. He's a huge Star Wars fan. He's built a fully functional, fully 3D printed R2, D2, as well as a BB-8 and a DO. Right.
Iron Man, War Machine.
Cool stuff.
He's working on a Mandalorian right now, too. I don't know if that's public or not, but oh well.
It's public now.
It's public now.
Yeah. To the 10 listeners? Or do we have 12?
Right now, it's probably 0. Because we haven't recorded an episode since, I think, April or something of last year. Yeah. It was really early last year was the last time.
This is why we're getting back at it. So another guest that you and I kind of talked about.
I did it. Tim O'Sullivan is the only guest
confirmed.
For next month, for February's episode.
So we've looked at other opportunities.
I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about that.
Without saying names, obviously, right? Makers.
Well, that's just it. I don't mind talking about this on mic either. Just like a little bit of back. Do you think that we should name drop the people we were thinking about talking to. Because even if, like, and this is kind of I guess this is kind of a shady
So
business.
Dwayne Johnson.
No. We're not talking, not Dwayne Johnson.
Chris Rock. I get him confused.
Wow. I can go a couple different directions with that, but I'm not going to. Jack Black. No.
You never know.
You never know.
Hey, if you guys are listening.
If you know Jack Black.
Yeah. Or if you are Jack Black.
Miss Jablinski himself.
Yeah. That would be fun, though. He'd be interesting.
We got to talk about that at some point, because that whole, like, Jack Black YouTube channel, gaming channel thing, like, is just it's a beautiful anomaly in my mind.
It is. It's nonsense, just like us.
Yeah.
Because we gotta love it.
Except he's popular and we're not, so.
It's true. True story.
But my question to you was, do you want to name drop the people that we're thinking about bringing on in hopes that we can bring them on, and even if we can't, then, like I said, it's a little shady, I guess, but like even if we can't, name dropping them still kind of gets a little bit of popularity on the show.
I say.
Or we just go I'd rather go the honest route and just not mention their names unless we get them confirmed.
That's my way. Yeah. And besides little teasers for everybody, and then maybe you'll come back.
Maybe we can talk about. We can talk about the type of person, because we know
that's what I'm saying.
Because we know a couple different makers who have big YouTube channels, and they're friends with other makers who have big YouTube channels that we can bring on, who also do Star Wars stuff and Transformers stuff.
Other creators.
We have possible connections with. Well, we do have connections. It's just the possible part of it comes from whether or not we can get them on the show. With people who have actually worked on the original Star Wars, like that's a possibility as well.
True,
event coordinators for different Comic-Cons that we know, like the possibility of getting people on the show that are interesting and have interesting things to say, but also like help with the conversation.
Potential for different artists.
Now,
even costumers, I would say.
Yeah.
We'll have on the
people
show.
who are just like popular cosplayers online. Yeah.
Oh, the one thing that you and I talked about.
Did you look at the list of potential people that I made?
I did. Do I remember off the top of my head? No.
I haven't opened another tab if you want to look at it, but.
No, and all of a sudden I'm disappointed in myself. Megatronic Spree. Did I say it right? No.
No, Cybertronic Spree.
Cybertronic Spree. Yeah.
I don't know that we're gonna be able to get them on the show, but it'd be cool to talk to them.
Yeah.
So
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
We'll drop the big names that probably we'll never hear from. Like
No.
Johnson.
Oh. I thought you were gonna say what I thought you were gonna say.
There's a famous YouTuber I watch that's really, really trying to get Dwayne Johnson on his show.
Really?
And he's done everything from putting a photograph in the background of The Rock wearing a fanny pack, from the 80s. And
is it like a cardboard cutout?
No, it's a photograph.
It's just a picture.
In a frame, yeah. Yeah, in like a family frame.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he keeps mentioning it. Yeah. So the chances of us, here's a famous YouTube creator.
Speaking of families.
Yeah.
That's another thing to consider is like, I don't like necessarily.
My family?
No, keeping the show family friendly or like PG-13, because we've had guests on the show before who have talked about certain concepts, and I have this. I don't know if it's a bad habit or a good habit, but I have this habit of when I'm on mic, I tend to try not to cuss or talk about things that are inappropriate. But I am a very inappropriate, like cussing-centric person in real life. So as I get more comfortable getting back on the show, that may come out a little bit. So I don't necessarily want to promise that this is a quote-unquote family-friendly show or PG-13 show, but for the most part, it most likely is, especially with guests that are a little bit higher caliber than just like a couple of our friends or something like that. Because those guys are
an image to think about. Yeah.
Right. And you have your image to think about too. I mean, I do too, I guess. We all do.
Doesn't everyone?
We do.
Right.
Yeah, we all do.
Unless you're James Victoria, which, James, you're welcome to be on the show.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
if he came on the show, I would hang his poster up.
He will say whatever the F-bomb he wants to say.
True, yeah.
So that's fine too.
I don't know if I brought his book with me when I moved here.
I don't know. So that even talks about the scope. The scope of the show. Because
scope? Are you saying my breath stinks?
Well, I was trying to casually mention
drinking coffee. Does it really stink? I don't know.
No, it does not.
Okay. It probably smells like coffee.
Yeah. I mean, we could even, have... Well, there's just... the opportunities for people to be on the show is pretty wide open. So.
And that adds value to the show, like entertainment value to the show. But on top of that, the point of the show is looking at the world through like geek nerd tinted glasses. Right. So what we're doing by bringing those people on the show is we're proving this point of like, it doesn't matter what point in your life you are, or how popular or not popular you are, or what path of life you're going down, whether you're a maker or whether you're into graphic design or whether you're into video making or whether you're a photographer or whether you're into making things with wood or
a motivational speaker
or whatever, or just a guy who runs a makerspace locally, wink wink, like doesn't matter who you are, like everybody seems to be looking at the world through their own version of Electrospecs.
Maybe that is our overarching kind of message, is it's cool to be you and just be yourself and enjoy the world around you, and
that's a concept that I've
celebrate it kind of.
Yeah. That's a concept that I've really kind of grown to accept, and for lack of a better way of putting it, preach over the last few years. I've really kind of absorbed that mindset and really pushed it out and tried to practice it as much as I can, which is you are you, and that's all you need to be. Just because people disagree with you doesn't mean, or if people disagree with you, just because they disagree with you doesn't mean you're wrong, and it doesn't mean they're wrong either. It just means that you have two different rights.
Correct. Yep.
There's different ways of looking at things. There's different shades and tints of Electrospecs to look at the world through. And we're kind of focusing specifically on the nerd stuff and geeky stuff, but it's everybody. Like, you don't have to be anything other than yourself.
Which is why I invite everyone to listen to the show and just come back and listen to the next episode, because just because one episode may not have like hit you just in the right spot that made everything in the world great again, well, the next episode is going to be different. Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe I'll record a little disclaimer at the beginning of the show or something. But because very likely, I understand this. It's whatever. I understand this. Most likely, a lot of people are probably tuned out of the show by now because we're not talking about anything interesting. We're just talking about the logistics of the show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, maybe I'll record something at the beginning where, I'll say, hey, at the very least, skip to this time period, because we do very much, or skip to this time slot in the episode, because this episode is a lot of just talking about what we're planning on doing. But next episode, when we bring Tim on, Tim is a fantastic dude.
The conversation will be different.
The conversation will be different. The conversation will be really interesting. And I don't like promising things too often because I don't necessarily know how things are going to go. But I can almost guarantee and almost completely promise you that having Tim O'Sullivan on this show, it's going to be interesting, and you're going to hear something interesting, or inspiring, or you're going to learn something. Like, he is a fantastic dude, and talking to him and having him tell his story and what he's up to and what he's doing and having a conversation with him is going to be really, really good. And even if you don't really care that much about this episode where we're just kind of BSing, I highly recommend coming on and listening to February's episode next month.
Yeah. And I would almost guarantee that's how every episode will be, because our objective is to bring in interesting people, interesting things to say.
I think the way I described it to you was, if we're only recording one episode per month, that's only 12 episodes a year, and if we end up getting behind on episodes or don't record 1 month, like, what are we doing? If we can't do 12 episodes a year, then we don't deserve to do a podcast. And 2, 1 episode per month gives us plenty of time to kind of plan and get together things and make sure that the guests are somebody interesting and somebody who can really, really bring the conversation in.
Exactly. So if you're listening this far and got through our nonsense,
I appreciate it. First of all,
there may be that nonsense in the beginning of every show as we start off, because it's our personalities when we sit down next to each other. But but they'll definitely get into some really great conversations. So back to our outline, the format of the show.
So we're gonna be releasing. So I chose a date now instead of choosing a day of the week.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, that is important. Every episode is going to be released on the 25th of every month. It doesn't matter what day it is. I realize that's kind of weird for a podcast. Possibly. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But I chose that date for a couple specific reasons we'll get into in later episodes. But just expect, so we're recording this episode, I'm not even going to look at the date because I don't care when we're recording this. But the point is, it's like a week or so before we're planning on releasing it, because it's going to be released on January 25th. So the 25th of every month is when we're releasing the episode. That also creates a situation where we have an entire month to schedule our guest, whether it's the weekend before we release the episode or the weekend 3 weeks before we release the episode. That way we've got plenty of time so that we can make sure that these guests are available to come on and talk to us.
Right. And we're reaching out to them months ahead of time.
Right. Now, that being said, we've done a live component to this show before, and we're not planning on doing that right now. We might bring that back in the future if this show gets some listenership, but although I love the feedback that I did get from one of my friends and, well, from Brett and from my dad and stuff like that, that's not necessarily enough feedback to justify the amount of effort that goes into doing a live show with a live chat going on. So until we kind of gain a little bit more of an audience and get things going, I'm not planning on putting this out live anymore, until in the foreseeable future.
Right.
So that gives us that more opportunity to make sure that we've got plenty of time. We can record whenever we need to, whenever we want to, whatever time or day, to make sure that the guest is available. And then that episode always comes out on the 25th of every month. That's our schedule. That's our plan so far. So there will be 12 episodes this year, and I don't know if I want to make 2021 season 3 or whatever, but.
Right.
We're calling it season 2 because we're actually walking into this with a little bit more planning, a little bit more formatting, an actual schedule. We're planning on having guests. We've got a more solid idea of what the show is versus kind of the wishy-washy kind of doing whatever that we did up until this point.
Right.
So.
Practice.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
We practice a lot.
It's like the 4th time the show has kind of died and been brought, resurrected, but this is the first time it's been resurrected with a plan in place. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Everything before now is just kind of like the preemptive thing. This is season 2 of the show. Let's go.
Right.
Okay.
Number 3. This is our last.
We just want to
bulleted area.
We want to have a brief discussion because we didn't want to just spend the entire episode just talking about what the show is and what we're planning on doing. Although that is important. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what we've been up to since the last time we recorded. Which again, I don't remember exactly. When, well, more importantly, I had 2 things.
Okay.
2 main things. One, because I went back and I listened to the last episode, and I thought it was funny that in that episode you were talking about starting your own podcast, but hadn't even planned it yet.
Sure, yeah.
But you've well planned it and started it and recorded quite a few episodes, and it's actually pretty successful right now. So did you want to just kind of give a brief?
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny how that last episode we recorded became kind of a time capsule of, but now you've gone off the ground with that podcast.
Yeah, that's. So what I've been doing since TWTE last recorded, I'm an educator, I'm a designer, creative director, run my own design studio, and have a podcast. So I'm multifaceted, I guess you could say. But that podcast is on design education and what it means to be a design educator and creating success in design education. That's going really well. I interview people from all over the world on that podcast. I have an interview coming up with someone from India. I just recently had an interview with an educator from Scotland, from the Glasgow School of Arts. I had interviews with folks from Turkey, Spain, all over the U.S.
It's a worldwide podcast at this point.
Worldwide podcast, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm editing episode 17 right now, so it's season 1 has ended and season 2 has started. 8 episodes a season, but it's been pretty exciting. Getting a lot of positive feedback from that as well, from design educators and stuff. So that's my big thing. That's really kind of what's been happening hugely, besides keeping teaching, being a creative director at a local agency here, working with national brands such as Ace Hardware and some other folks. So that's the serious part of me. Yeah. That's
what about the non-serious part of you then? What have you been up to, costume-wise, or just kind of video games you've been doing, or whatever?
I can't move away from Red Dead Redemption, even though I finished the campaign.
I know. The other day you were playing that, and I was like, "What are you doing in that game?" You're like, "I'm just riding around on a horse and shooting people.
Yeah,
I don't have any objectives anymore."
No, right, no objective. It's just
messing with the world.
Yep. My only objective is to not be killed by the law.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't that everybody's objective though?
I think so.
Especially in these days.
Haven't been costuming as much.
Yeah. You kind of. You were talking about that with Jimmy the other day, but you kind of backed off of costuming a little bit, but you're getting back into it a little bit more.
Yes and no. Yeah. For those that know and don't know, 501st Legion Star Wars costuming group for charity. We do all kinds of charity groups. Caleb's a member as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes with that kind of stuff, you get overwhelmed and life gets busy and you just need to step back.
Yep.
And then when you're mentally ready,
as far as volunteering work is concerned, it's a very exhausting type of volunteering work. Mm-hmm. The Legion is.
It is, yeah.
The Star Wars costuming and stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it is. And it takes a lot of time, believe it or not.
A lot of time, a lot of mental energy. Yeah.
A
lot of money, a lot of times too. Building the costumes and also traveling with the costumes and upkeep on the costumes and stuff. It's a lot.
Yeah. And our geographic area too, for our particular garrison, there's a lot more traveling because the state is a lot more rural where we're at. It's not like the big cities where there's so much going on. So we do a lot of travel on moving and stuff. So, but yeah, tell us you.
Tell us you.
Tell us you.
Hello, I am Pete.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell us you. So the last couple episodes we recorded them remotely over Google Hangouts because you had moved to Arkansas and I was living in Indiana. That has changed.
It has.
Between then and now. As of a month and a half ago, well, as of when this episode releases, it'll be about 2 months.
Right. As you, the listener and viewer,
it'll be almost exactly 2 months. We're in the same room. Whoa.
Crazy.
That was weird. But yeah, we're in the same room because I have now moved down here with you and your wife who lived down here in Arkansas. You guys had a spare bedroom for me, and I decided to move on down here and see what we can do with the podcast and with the creative studio and just find some new work down here and just see what's next. Just start over new, hit the refresh button, basically. So.
Yeah. And here we are.
So yeah, that's where we are now and what we've been up to. I've been playing some games recently because I moved down here without a job in place. So I'm going to be starting work soon. By the time this episode airs, I will have started work. But I've been searching for jobs, going to interviews, and in my spare time just playing video games, pretty much, and working on Lego projects.
Yeah. So if anybody has some video projects,
that's
your guy. Get a hold of Caleb.
I've done remote editing for Jim Edgeworth. Oh, he'd be a good guest to have on the show.
He would,
yeah. He's got a YouTube channel about 3D printing and 3D printing accessories. And it's grown quite a bit. I know last time I checked he was over 1,000 subscribers. I think he's well above 1,000 at this point. I haven't looked at it recently. I don't know how many. He might be over multiple thousands for all I know, but I know he's definitely grown quite a bit. I did remote video editing for him for a while. I'm still planning to do more remote video editing for him, but he hasn't thrown any projects at me quite yet for this year because it is relatively fresh in the year too. And he's been busy because he also runs a side business on his own. But that being said, I do have experience with remote. I'm not trying to pitch myself for
no, sure, right. I am though, I guess.
I guess so. But yeah, I have experience with remote video editing and working entirely over chat.
And podcast editing.
And podcast editing too, yeah. A little bit of audio editing just within the context of video. So like I'm not necessarily an audio engineer, but I'm more of a video editor and video producer. But that being said, if anybody's listening to the show, you got work for me. Right now I'm available. Yeah. I'm still going to be available in the foreseeable future too, because the job that I'm starting is going to be part-time and it's mostly going to be on weekends. So I'll be available during the week and stuff. And I did that on purpose because I plan on working with local agencies and doing work with our creative studio and getting stuff together where I need time during the week to make sure that I'm available for that kind of stuff anyways, to do the freelance work and stuff. So, but yeah, no project is too, well, I probably shouldn't say no project is too big or too small, but I'm available.
Maybe too small.
maybe too small, maybe too big.
Nothing's ever too big.
Well, if you got the budget for it. I'll tackle anything.
The client needs the budget.
The client needs the budget if it's a big project.
Yeah.
But I'll tackle a big project.
There you go.
If you got the budget for it.
There you go.
Because I won't be able to handle it on my own. If it's a big enough project, I'm going to need a crew and gear that I don't have.
The next sci-fi film, that'll be your thing.
Sci-fi film?
Yeah. Because
like on
the trailer's
Sci-Fi
playing.
Channel?
The trailer's playing. So.
You mean Star Wars?
Yeah. Star Wars. It wouldn't be Star Wars. The saga's over. Well, the Skywalker story is over.
Right. The Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Great segue.
What are they going to do?
What'd you think of the... So yeah, we want to talk briefly about The Rise of Skywalker. We're already at 33 minutes. But...
I'm not going to give out any spoilers.
Well, when this podcast is released, it's going to be, I think, exactly a month since the...
What about those poor people that are waiting for the DVD because they can't afford to go to the theater?
Fine, no spoilers. So what did you think of the movie? We'll talk about spoilers. We'll go into spoilers. We'll talk about spoiler-related stuff with Tim O'Sullivan next month.
Oh, there you go.
Because he's a huge Star Wars fan, too.
See what he thinks.
What he thinks.
I was not spoiled. I was satisfied. I was very satisfied. Maybe I was spoiled. No. It was a good thing. I'm trying to put spoiler in there and trying to make it work when it's not working.
No.
I was very satisfied. I almost got up and walked out once.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
All right.
I swear. I was like, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, you didn't.
You walked out of the entire movie just because of that one situation? I know exactly what you're talking about, too.
I almost did. I was like on the edge of my seat.
I don't think you would have.
I was very upset.
You were that upset about that?
I was that upset.
Of all the things to be upset about.
And then somebody else says, we'll do it. If you were paying attention, you would have realized that didn't happen.
Yeah, you would have realized there were two of the items.
Oh! It's too much.
Is that too much of a spoiler
already?
already?
Information.
All right, fine.
Too much information.
We haven't given out that much. Okay, anyways.
No.
But yeah.
But now we're making
you enjoyed it.
Two of what? Two of what?
Two of what? Always two there are. A master and an apprentice.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to dig myself out of this hole.
No, you did actually, because now that made everyone go, what?
Yeah.
What? To what? There's an apprentice? No.
When in doubt, confuse the listener.
There you go. Right. No, but I was satisfied. I haven't seen it a second time yet. I really want to, but that takes time and bottomless pockets.
I've seen it twice, but that was about a month ago. So I don't remember a whole lot of it, which is kind of. It's Star Wars. I should remember
details.
Yeah. The details, yeah. Because I talked about it for probably hours after seeing it the first couple times when I came back from the theater. But at this point, I'm just kind of like, all I really have left is kind of a shell of a memory of it, and kind of like, oh, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but just looking at the trailer playing.
Yeah, we have the trailer playing in the background.
It was beautiful. I mean, the
it was a pretty movie.
The quality of it was just. I don't know. I really appreciate it. There's those diehard fans out there that are like...
Fans of the movie Die Hard?
Yeah. No. There's Star Wars fans out there that are just... there's always those that are going like, no, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on now. Just enjoy what was given to you and make the best of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was...
I feel the same way about
incredible.
Star Wars that I feel about Transformers, which is... As the fan base kind of poo-poos on the new stuff and has problems with the new stuff, my thought process is because like a lot of people didn't like Michael Bay's Transformers films, and yeah, they have a lot of problems. And I had a hard time. I still have a hard time trying to defend in any way, shape, or form the most recent films because the most recent Michael Bay Transformers films were terrible, and I'll admit to that.
See, the funny thing is I'm like, I don't know.
I
enjoyed them.
But that wasn't Michael Bay.
I liked them all.
But that's my thought process with Transformers and Star Wars. It's that, yes, it had problems, and yes, I understand your arguments towards why you think it's a terrible movie, more so than people really think that the Transformers movies got terrible versus Star Wars. But at the same time, the same thing happens with the Halo fan base and the Halo franchise. Yes, it's changing. And yes, the audience they're making the movie for isn't necessarily you specifically anymore, because you're getting older, and kids are getting older, and kids are getting into Star Wars, and at the end of the day, Star Wars is a kids' movie, for the most part. But I'm just a fan of the concept of the thing. I'm not a fan of Transformers because I loved a specific movie. I'm a fan of Transformers because I like the idea of robots that turn into cars. Right. Doesn't matter what medium that is, whether it's a video game, a comic book, a TV show, a cartoon, or a movie, and what caliber any of those things are. There were good shows and bad shows. Same thing with Star Wars. Yeah. What I like about Star Wars is that it's medieval knights and wizards with laser swords and lightning coming out of their hands that fight for control over a galaxy, supposedly a long time ago. I don't love Star Wars because I love The New Hope. I don't love Star Wars because I love a specific character. I love Star Wars because I like the concept of it. So even if I don't particularly like a specific movie, or if there's problems with the movie, or whatever, or problems with the comic book that came out, or whatever, I'm still a fan of the franchise. I'm still going to end up spending money to go see the new stuff or play the new games or whatever. Because it's just that's what I'm a part of. I'm part of that community. I'm part of that fan base. I'm not a part of that particular medium. But
right. Well, these couple things that we're talking about, just the thoughts of the test of time that they've gone through, decades and decades of evolution and stuff. That's what just makes me that much more amazing.
It's crazy to think that the first Star Wars movie came out in '77.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people know that. That's a pretty common fact nowadays. But if you just stop for a second and you just think about that. 77, no, that's when Star Wars came out. But think about it. Think about other elements of the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Like
disco.
The 1970s.
Yeah.
Like most of us meaning my group of friends, weren't even born when that movie came out. Well, my group of friends is usually older than me, but people my age,
I was 9 years old, yeah.
Just that concept. That was... I can't do math on the fly, especially on the spot.
Surreal. As a 9-year-old, it was surreal.
How many years ago was that?
It was surreal.
So so this movie that came out recently finished a story in a universe that was started, 40?
A long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away. That's all there is to it. We're also got that we wanted to talk about things that we're excited for. So this whole same kind of concept along the same line, right? About how
it all ties in.
This was decades ago.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm excited about the Ghostbusters film.
Yeah. Oh, so we're talking about things we're looking forward to this year, and what we want to talk about in future episodes as we get closer to things this year. I'm really looking forward to the new Ghostbusters movie.
Boy, how could we tie a Ghostbusters conversation?
I have ideas. I have people on the list, and I have ideas.
You've got people.
Well, I mean, well, whatever. Anyways.
Right. I'm going to go back to the list and refresh my memory.
Mandalorian Season 2 starts this year, too.
Yeah.
So we could have a discussion about Season 1 and possibly bring something out. We were talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
We have possible connections with people that might be somewhat related to / interesting when it comes to the conversation about The Mandalorian.
Yep.
I think as far as video games are concerned, I am going to hate myself later because I feel like there's video games coming out this year that I'm looking forward to, but I can't think of them right now. I'm kind of drawing a blank. All I can really think of is Cyberpunk 2077, but I'm not super I don't know much about that, but I am probably going to check it out when it comes out.
I think the game console scene has... I don't want to say it got stagnant.
I don't want to say it got Halo Infinity comes out this year, I think.
Okay, that's a good one.
Which sucks because just like Halo 5, I had an Xbox 360 for the longest time. Halo 5 comes out, and I'm a huge Halo fan, and I own every Halo game, and I've played every Halo game a million times, so I have to play Halo 5 when it comes out. But it comes out for Xbox One. So Halo 5 became a $660, $760 video game for me because I had to buy the console to play it. Sounds like the same thing's going to happen with Halo Infinity? Halo Infinite.
Oh, is that for the next generation?
Yeah, it's for the new Xbox. So,
well, it's Microsoft for you.
Yeah, which is great because it's going to look awesome and play awesome.
Yeah.
But it means, damn, I'm going to have to get a new console.
I've been seeing some of the VR stuff I played some VR stuff. Man, that you think you understand it, and if you've never done VR before, and then you put on the goggles and go in.
I did that with Brett.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Brett had a VR system. I don't remember exactly which one he had, but
yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
The new Oculus is out, and lots of cool stuff happening there. So there's some stuff to look forward to. Yeah, but I thought overall, as far as console gaming goes, it seems like it's almost a little stagnant, but maybe I'm just separated from it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's stuff coming out this year that I'm excited for. I'm not thinking of it right now. So
let's hope.
It feels stagnant because I don't really know.
For the video game world, let's hope. Because you can only play Gears of War so many times. You can only play GT so many times.
GT.
Or
GTA.
GTA. Thank you. Yeah. You can only play Halo so many times, and all those fans out there are going, "Oh yes, we can. We can play it forever." But you can only play Red Dead Redemption so many times
before you're just riding around on a horse shooting people.
Right, running from the law. Sounds like GTA in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, probably because it's the same
idea.
Company.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the same company.
Well, instead of riding around on a horse, you're riding around on many horses.
Because horsepower. Yeah.
Just
it's the same company though, right?
From the law.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
Came out with GTA and Red Dead Redemption are released by the same people.
Yeah. They probably use their same kind of engine, just change the scenery a little bit. There you go. Bada boom, bada bing.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have we rambled?
So yeah, movies.
Have we rambled too much?
I think we've rambled quite a bit. We're already at 45 minutes. It's gonna be hard. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's gonna be hard to stay under an hour.
Yeah.
Especially with a guest.
Once we have a guest, we'll have a more specific target. And then if we're watching the time, we know, like, hey, we had a great conversation. It was nice chatting with you.
Oh, we plan on another thing, kind of to just quickly jump back real quick. We're gonna go through a portal to the beginning of the episode, to the beginning of the outline. One of the other things.
Insert sound effect here.
Ding. Oh wait. I don't know. One of the other things we're planning on doing with the podcast this year is going mobile. The way we're recording right now, my laptop's plugged into the wall, our lights are plugged into the wall, but everything battery powered.
Yeah.
We could record completely mobile. We can take the table setup and the laptop and the lights and everything, and we can go record an episode at a Comic-Con or something if we want to. So that's pretty cool.
They were talking about some pretty, unusual, not maybe unusual, but
unusual in a good way.
We hope to surprise people.
Abnormal.
Abnormal.
But in the actual definition of the term abnormal.
Yeah. So we hope to surprise some folks what we can do.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's about it for this episode.
I think so.
Probably wrap things up, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we did good.
Yeah, I think we talked for too long, but
we rambled here and there, but
yeah.
As long as you guys get to the 3 to 5 minute rambles, you'll be all right.
Okay.
They'll be all right. So we are talking to Tim O'Sullivan.
Yep. So next month, the current plan, unless anything comes up, is that Tim O'Sullivan is going to join us next month.
Tell them you guys got to tune in for that one. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So look forward to that episode. Will be released on February 25th.
February 25. Yeah.
Yeah, February 25, 2020. So.
Yep.
Pete, where can people find you online if they want to see what you're up to and follow you?
Well, there's two places. If you want the seriousness, just go to peterbella.com. My website's on there where there's links to me as an educator, my podcast, and the creative studio.
I'll put a link to that in the description of this as well.
Great.
This episode.
Great. Or Instagram. I don't do the Facebook thing as much, but on Instagram, Pete Bella Jr. All one word. Cool. Find me there. Okay. The podcast. My podcast is Design Dedux.
There you go.
So that's on Instagram. Dedux. Dedux is an interesting word. A lot of people are like, "What the heck?" Right? Because everyone's heard Redux, right? But not that many people have heard of Dedux. So it's
I think it's pronounced Dido or something.
No, Dedux. I actually was curious myself. I'm like, am I pronouncing?
Well, I mean,
right?
People might think that's how.
Oh yeah. But you do say Dedux, Dedux. Yeah. But Design Dedux on Instagram and. DesignDedux.com. There's a YouTube channel for it. Check out the podcast. Dedux means a derivative. So
cool.
The idea is that design education is derived from what's happened prior.
And I'm sure you explained that probably in the show, like in the intro episode or whatever, to season 2.
A little bit.
That concept behind the name.
Yeah. Here and there, I kind of refresh people's memory.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter. I don't really post anything useful. It's just kind of like Twitter's one of those places where I hope employers don't find me. You know what I mean? But Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's all the same. It's at CD Ferris.
Yeah.
I'll put a link to that in the description of this as well.
Right.
Sorry, coffee.
Do you still have your professional social media, LinkedIn, right? We both still have.
Yeah, I still have LinkedIn too.
Yeah.
But
So if you want to get serious, find us on LinkedIn too.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also have a website.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
CalebFerris.com.
I always mess that up. Because your social media is CD Ferris.
Did I tell you about, maybe that would be somebody who'd be fun to have on a podcast. I think I told you about this recently, but there's a Caleb Ferris in Tennessee.
Yes, you told me that.
His name is spelled exactly the same way, just with one R in Ferris instead of two R's.
Same middle name?
No.
Oh, that would be weird.
No, that would be weird. No,
Okay.
But his name is Caleb Ferris, spelled the same way, but with one R in the last name. So I found him on accident because I typed my own web address in wrong. I only put one R instead of two, and CalebFerris.com with one R for him went to his illustration portfolio.
And what does he do?
He's an illustrator.
He's an illustrator, creative person. Imagine that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
I think I know there's two definite other Peter Bellas. Well, there's three if you want to include my father. But the other two Peter Bellas, one is a doctor. I am not the doctor. And the other one is a professional bodybuilder. That is not me either. So.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you're pretty positive.
So Caleb Ferris with two R's, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, takes you to my website. Get rid of one R, and it takes you to his website. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and he's a good illustrator, too.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Nice.
Looks like he's got 2 Instagrams.
That's interesting.
But yeah, he's got pretty cool work. I've been following him ever since.
That's pretty cool.
There he is, right there. That's him.
He looks nothing like you.
No, but maybe we can get him on the show. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be fun.
Confusing, but cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, and then you can find this show at www.TWTEpodcast.com. And we're on the show's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. I post the episodes there. YouTube. Oh yeah. There's a video version of this podcast. I think we mentioned it a few times, but I post a video version of this podcast so you can see what we're talking about on the screen. You can see us. You can look at our beautiful faces. We'll just wear masks from now on.
Yeah, I think we'll have to.
But yeah, that's where you can find us. That's where you can find the show, and I think that's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Definitely tune in next month.
Definitely. We'll talk to you then.
Later.